What's up, everybody? So today we're back in the garage. We got an upgrade for my Silverado that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, and it's something that I think the truck desperately needs. It's very outdated and old, and this product we just got is fairly recent. I think it's been out for maybe a year, but yeah, I finally got one, and I want to go ahead and get this installed, so I'll show you guys what we got. So let's go ahead and unbox this thing. I'm sure you guys can already tell it is an Idoing head unit for a 2008 to 2013 Silverado. I'm super excited to get this thing installed. As you guys know, I have one of these head units installed in my EK Civic, and it is fantastic. Completely updates the whole interior of that car. And yeah, we definitely need to get the Silverado up to its modern era. So let's go ahead, open this thing up. Oh yeah. That's gonna be so sick. Look at the size of that screen. It's gonna be massive in the Silverado compared to what it is now. As you guys can see here, we've got everything unboxed and laid out, and it is quite a bit of stuff to look at. But first and foremost, as you can see here, we have the 10.2-inch QLED screen and head unit here from Idoing, which I have this in the Civic. It's not quite this large, but it is super nice. It's fantastic. It has your Android Auto, your CarPlay, Bluetooth. It's internet compatible, like 4G. You can hook up to Wi-Fi, so it does basically everything that you want it to do. And of course, it gets rid of the old outdated head unit that's currently in there. As you guys know, the like 08 to 2013 Silverados, Tahoes, Impalas, Malibus, anything GMC, Pontiac, Chevy, whatever, all had that same head unit. So having this will be a massive upgrade. And it comes, like I said, with all this stuff here. Install kit as far as like your dash piece there is. You got your little chime, you got your radio harnesses here. I believe this is just for regular harness here, and then you have like the one for canvas if your truck has more modern technology into it and it needs to communicate with the other modules and stuff, which I believe mine does. So it's cool that they give you that. You've got the trim removal tools. You've got everything here for 4G. So you've got your antenna, you got your little, like your SIM card you can add to it to have 4G on that. You've got your USBs, hookups here for different types of audio, whether you have subwoofer, amplifier, stuff like that in the truck. Then you've got your stuff here for backup cameras, your GPS antenna, external microphone, and then of course I went ahead, I splurged a little bit, and I got the backup camera. So we'll be curious to see how this looks and plays out, especially tied into that 10.2-inch screen. It'll be super nice to have that attached on there, especially if you're hooking up trailer, backing up or anything like that. Currently my truck has the backup sensors, so that'll be a massive improvement. And like I said, being able to see it on that screen there will be a huge plus. They do also include this little packet here, kind of goes through a rundown of installation instructions, and then also tells you kind of what everything is and where it plugs into. So that's super nice. But yeah, with that being said, I guess let's go out to the truck now, get the old one removed, and then get this bad boy put in. So as you guys can see here, this is the stock radio that is currently in the truck. And as you guys know, like I mentioned, it's pretty much the same head unit that they had from pretty much 2007-ish to like 13 before they actually started doing like touchscreens and stuff. And I know some like the Denali's and stuff got the touchscreens, but they're still relatively small, nothing too large. So this is pretty much it. It's just that little single DIN right here. You have your HVAC and stuff controls down here, which those will stay in there. The Idoing one will just basically replace this and just take up a lot more space and give you a lot larger screen. Shouldn't have any issue or anything when it comes to like the air vents and stuff. But I guess step one here is to get this old one removed. So I'm gonna need to remove my little phone mount, my USB cord and stuff here, and then yeah, start popping this off. Should be fairly simple. I think it's just a lip right around this edge here. We should be able to just pull on that. I don't think we need any pry tools or anything, but it should just full release. So let's go ahead and get this out of here. Not too bad, fairly simple. Maybe I'll leave those wires connected for now because I don't really want to take those out. So this thing should just set here. And then our HVAC looks like it can stay there. This has got a couple of screws there, so that will stay there. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 there. What are they, like 7 or 8 millimeters? So let's go ahead and get those out next. Now that we got those 4 7mm screws out, let's go ahead and see if this whole radio will just pop out. Well, actually it looks like it is tied in with the HVAC, so we gotta take the HVAC out first, it looks like. There we go. Slide that all forward. And then we just got these plugs on the back. So remove those. So now that we got the head unit removed, we can go ahead, we gotta put it in our radio mount here. So this should, I think it goes this way, we'll see. Line up there because it should give the extra tabs there to hook the new radio in. And this should give space for the HVAC. So once that's installed, we'll route these up somewhere like this to get able to adapt to that new Idoing head unit as well as the antenna there. And then put our HVAC stuff back in and then play around with the rest of the wiring. Cool, so now we got that lined up. Everything looks good. Try to make it so it have a nice symmetrical gap right there at the bottom. And yeah, let's go ahead and get this all wired in next. Here is our head unit. Now as you guys can see here, we need to get everything wired up. So has all these plugs on the back. Luckily, like I said, Idoing does include a whole like wire up sheet here. So we basically got to match everything that we'll be using as far as the items we have here. So obviously we won't be using the 4G modem. We're not going to be using the AV group, the GPS antenna, the 4G modem antenna there. We will be using the USB cable here, as well as the microphone, and I believe the chimes. So those will be like the main ones here, aside from like your camera stuff. So let's go ahead and get this stuff all put in here. Like I said, it's a lot of spots that we got to fill. So let's go ahead and get these plugged in. So USB goes there, and then our main harness will go up here. Next up will be for the microphone, so it should go into this slot here. And then as far as the mic goes, let's go ahead and get that attached. Got a long cable here, and then the mic will just plug in there. We need our chime to go in somewhere, which looks like our chime will connect onto this harness here somewhere, just like that. So we got all those installed. Next up will be backup camera, which looks like it goes into this slot here. And we'll have to attach everything that corresponds with that one. And then the next main goal will be connecting into our factory plugs here. Can't forget antenna. So I'll plug in there. Now with this whole mess of wires here, let's see. This thing's freaking long. Let's see here if we can get this plugged in. Antenna. It's good. Black plug goes there. Yellow plug goes to gray. I guess let's go ahead and try to stick this back there and see if it works. So mostly right now I just want to see if it'll start up with what we have plugged in so far. We should be good, but let's find out here. Oh, there's a chime. Chime's working. Hey, that was quick. Wow. Super nice. Okay. Let's see. This is a completely different setup than what was in the Civic. So just layout wise, looking at this, is way different. So you have your sounds, your volume up, volume down, which we'll be able to adjust that if you don't want to hear that chiming noise. So we are at home. Let's see here. Wow, it tracks my trip, mileage, everything. There's your maps, your settings. Super cool. No recent items. Where's music? Music's here. So this is equalizer. I just want to get to see if the radio works.
Cost, everything you need to know about these tours.
Okay, well that was loud. Cool, so all that works. Awesome, so a lot of it is very much similar to what is in the Civic. It's just overall, in my opinion, like the layout is just a little bit better than what's in the Civic. But yeah, it looks sick. We have all this stuff that is still working down here as far as our AC stuff goes. Now the real question is, does this still work here? So I can't see it doing anything. So it doesn't appear to be communicating with my controls as far as this goes yet, but I may have something wired in incorrectly. I may have to mess with that just to see, but at least we know that it works. So I'm going to shut that off for now and finish wiring this thing up, get it cleaned up and actually installed, because we still got a mess of wires to play with. Well, I did find a couple things that weren't plugged in, so we'll see if that changes it by chance. So as you can see here, we've got like this kind of USB style plug here. There was this one on the back of the radio, so we'll see if that plugs into there, if that changes anything. Go and turn it down a little bit because I don't want it to be playing any copyrighted music, but let's see here. It is not playing any, or I guess my steering wheel buttons aren't doing anything. You can't see any volume up or down, which on here, obviously you guys can see it doing stuff. Go radio. So yeah, that still works, but yeah, these aren't working yet. So I'm gonna keep playing around with this, and I just kind of realized I think my center garnish piece, my radio bezel there, needs to be installed first before all this wiring can happen, because I don't think there's any way we're gonna get this around there. So let's go ahead and slap that in there real quick and then keep messing with the wiring here. We got all that lined back up in there. Kind of a pain getting all this stuff situated, but as you can see there, everything is now back into place where it needs to be. It's all clipped back in. This area in particular is kind of like the hardest spot to get to as far as getting everything to snap into place. But yeah, looks good. So now, like I said, we got to figure out the whole wiring deal. I mean, we already see that it works and everything. I just need to go through and see if I can get it to correlate with the steering wheel controls. So once we get that figured out, then we'll move on to like backup camera and stuff like that. Well, as you can see here, I went ahead, I put everything back into place just for the time being. I wanted to play around with this, and there is some like controls on here as far as like adjustments to make it work with your steering wheel controls. I sent a message to Idoing just to see if there's anything that I'm supposed to do. I'm gonna wait and see what they respond with before we continue on. So for now, we got it installed. It is working, as you can see here. Carplay is connected, which is awesome. So now it is all set up. It's got GPS, it's got your phone, everything is set up. I did leave the microphone, it's all shoved in the back right now, and it does work. So I've already kind of messed with that as far as like talking to it and stuff, just getting this stuff initially dialed in. So yeah, this is working so far. I'm gonna wait till Idoing responds back to me with my questions here as far as getting the steering wheel stuff set up, and then we'll get that figured out, and then we'll go through and do the backup camera as well. So for now, it's in, it looks awesome. Let's go ahead and peel this off of here.
A few moments later.
Well, good news is the buttons now work. So I don't know if you guys can see it there. I don't want to play very loud, but you guys can see it go up and down. So yeah, we got it to play here. I hit next song, it'll skip over. Boom. Look at there. It is now working. So it ended up being this. Let me try to set this here. This plug right here. I had it actually plugged in right next to that antenna wire, so I actually had it over here. So switch places with that and everything works now. So we are good. Had to go through and do that whole process you guys kind of saw me do, go into the system there, and let me see here if I can show you guys. I believe it was in settings. But yeah, you go down into your factory settings or protocol settings. Yep. So as your protocol settings, punch in the car model and everything in there. So I had to go to OD, GM Chevrolet, back to OD, and then you basically flip on your radar switch. This is everything that I've got turned on right now. So radar switch, non-reverse radar switch, switch it over to miles, air conditioning, external temperature, switch it over to Fahrenheit. It makes all the chime noises for the car doors and stuff. Then up and down song swapping, I turned that one on, so that works those buttons. And then volume switching, I actually had it so that was on and it was reversed. So then I'd hit down and the volume would go up, and I hit up and the volume would go down. So turn that one off and everything works. So now we got that figured out. I guess let's go ahead and see if we can do the backup camera. So now that we got the steering wheel controls and everything hooked up as far as the head unit goes, we're going to go ahead, wire in our backup camera. So as you can see here, we've got our 3 different pieces. So you got the camera here with its 2 ends there. You've got basically your power harness for it, and then you've got your video harness here for it. So as you can see here on the back side of this here, you've got the yellow video cable, which will tie into this yellow cable here. So these 2 will plug in like that. And then you've got your power harness here, which will go into the red, and then this piece here, this red power wire and this black ground, the red power wire will tie into the video power here, so that when you hit it in reverse, it sends power to the camera to light it up, or I guess to make it work. And then your ground will just basically go onto the chassis somewhere to ground it out. Now, as far as the rest of the cable here, as you guys can see here, we've got a bunch of extra wire. Now, this is going to be snaked up from the bed up to the cab and then into the back of the head unit. So there's going to be a plug on the back side for the camera. It just plugs in. And then this one here has to get tapped into reverse power. So there's a spot in the head unit that we'll tie this into, which I'll show you guys. But for now, let's go ahead and go out to the truck, get this thing mounted, get all our wire ran and hooked up, and then get this thing to see if it actually works. So we should have everything as far as this end goes good, other than our ground here. So we'll get that onto the chassis, and then we'll get this whole harness tied up. But we need to go see where we're gonna mount the camera at. Okay, so I went and pulled the license plate off my truck. Found this little strip of aluminum here. So I think I'm gonna measure this out and cut it. So basically, we're gonna find, I put it here on the back side like so, or on the front side, I guess. We'll mark our holes as to where to drill. That way that this piece can be mounted on with the license plates, and then we'll drill out and find where we want to go for here and put our, it comes with this little double-sided tape here as well as these couple screws. We'll drill out the holes there to have this mounted on this strip. That way it is all removable if we need to remove it at some point. So let's go ahead, find our spots here, get it cut and get it drilled. Holes. There's our piece. So now let's go ahead, get this mounted up, and try to get the camera centered on here. So our plate, as you can see here, lines up there with our holes. I went ahead, I set the camera up here, just put it right kind of smack dab in the center like so. We're going to drill out some smaller holes there. So got this tiny little drill bit here for those screws to go into, and of course we'll add our double-sided tape there to help it adhere as well. So let's go drill those holes next. Well, that little tiny screw didn't quite survive, so we're gonna bump it up to these slightly larger self-tappers. So just like that, that is now on. And I decided to grind down those screws just a little bit so they're not quite interfering with the license plate. So now we can go ahead and get it mounted up like so. Camera's on, snake through back there. Now we just need to run all these wires underneath the truck here. So I don't know how well you guys can see it there, but I've got the wiring harness run up underneath the chassis there, and it's tucked up, connecting into the rest of the harness, runs all the way across. You can kind of see it draped right there. Goes underneath the truck here. There is a body plug. I don't know how well you guys can see it there, but I drilled a hole, snaked it up through, and then ran it underneath the carpet, so it's in this vicinity here. Goes underneath this trim, all the way across there, underneath here, back behind the dash, you can kind of see it there, and then snuck it up behind the dash there. So here it is. As you can see there, I snuck it up from behind the dash, plugged the two yellows in. You can see here it says camera in on this one, so the yellow goes to the camera, and then that white wire we had to snake in here and go into the main harness here. So I don't know how well you guys can see it, but there is 3 plugs. So you've got the black, the red, and the brown. Now the brown one, you're going to take that white wire and you're going to tap into it. So I went ahead, kind of shaved the wire back a little bit, and then twisted it on there, and it's pretty much just held in there. Use some electrical tape there, so it's all held in place here. So now everything should be good. I guess let's go ahead, put this into the dash here, like so. See if the backup camera works. Okay, not worried about CarPlay right now. I just want to make sure that the backup camera works. So, reverse. Hey, there we go. Look at that. It actually looks pretty good, if you ask me. You can see there, our calibration stuff seems to be going up a little bit, but I can see the ends of the bumper there. So if we have a hitch or something right there, we should be able to see just fine as far as getting it up, located on like a trailer or something. But yeah, it's hooked up, so sweet. We got the backup camera. And back to park, and you guys can see there, now it's off. So there you guys have it. We got it all completed and installed, and I'm super happy to have a full updated interior in that truck. That radio that was in there previously, like I said, nothing great. It's pretty much the same thing from all your Chevys, GMCs, Pontiacs, you name it. They all had that same radio in that era. So now actually having a touchscreen with the steering wheel controls working, the backup camera, having the CarPlay and all that stuff associated with it is a huge plus, and I can't wait to actually put it to a test. Like I said, I've got the one in the Civic, but that car doesn't really get driven nearly as much as the truck, so I will definitely be able to put more of a test on this one and get to learn it a lot better. So here in probably a year or two, we'll do an update or a rundown on the Silverado's head unit here, just to let you guys know how it's kept up. But overall, for now, I can't wait to go mess with it and do more stuff with it. And if you guys are interested in this head unit, I'll link it down in the description below so you guys can pick it up for yourself. But with that being said, I think we're gonna go ahead and end up the video here. So if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.